Jesus' life for about 3 years in his official life, that was a very difficult times. He was the servant. He came here to serve us. And how about broken jar, perfume-filled house? This is a Chanel number 5. What this is many women, what many women want, right? And Chanel number 5 was very much popularized in America when Marilyn Monroe once said that the only thing I wear in bed is 1 drop of Chanel number 5. That caused some kind of craze among ladies, and they bought lots and lots of number 5 Chanel. Well, I think we have 1 or 2 at our home too. But if it is 1 pound, how much is 1 pound? That should be about this much. 5 bottles, big bottles, you know. It's like about, I don't know, maybe 600 or 800 cc Coke, a plastic bottle thing, the huge one. That's about it. Of course, when you wear 1 or 2 drops of Chanel number 5, sometimes that you don't like that, right? Somebody passing by with lots and lots of perfume. But pouring about that Coke bottle, pure spikenard, yeah, you know, we can imagine what happened. Probably the whole house was filled with amazing perfume, right? Right, this is what happened. And how about love and rationality? This is probably one of the major topics we should think about. Somebody said that rational love is dull and uninteresting. You calculate and then you love. I think that is not genuine, maybe. We should think about the fact that love means going beyond. Love means not staying at the rational level. It should be a little bit irrational. Love should be irrational. For example, the Bible says if somebody asks you to go 1 mile with you, go 2 miles, right? You do a little more. If somebody asks for a coat, we should give also the undergarments too. So it's doing a little more or going beyond. And actually, this is the expression I like so much. You know, in the book they write the acknowledgement. I thank somebody. And you add some description like this. He always went above and beyond the call of duty. This means love. If we just do what our duty requires, probably that's not love. That's just the fulfillment of your obligation, but that's not love. You should go beyond and above the call of duty. So, in other words, love is doing just a little more. That is love. A little more. So there's always some excessiveness involved in it. Love is not exactly making both ends meet. It's always going beyond. So some people may think that, why this gap? That's not wise. Yeah, to the rational person, maybe. Love is number blind. No? If we calculate, then probably that's not out of love. Actually, one of my friends, he's also in the similar position as I am, and he keeps a kind of log of how much he was spending for his children, and every month he spreads out and then shows that to the children. Okay, this month I used this much for you, and what are you going to do? And then I will pay back. Okay, was he gets that reassurance every month. I don't know whether that's love. Maybe what he does is money lending, maybe. So his child shouldn't be surprised when it is a time for paying back. He's asking for the interest, maybe. Yeah, love is number blind. We shouldn't calculate it too much, right? But actually, recently I calculated how much I used for my children's education, but I didn't tell them. Yeah. Cost for raising children, let's just think about that, because love is typically what we can easily think about is what we do with raising our children with our money, right? So after graduation from college, there was a recent statistic. In Korea, it takes about dollar-wise about $389,600 US. That's a lot of money. How about America? About $271,000 US. So Koreans spend a lot more. You know that we have all the hagwon, and we have to send them to piano hagwon and English hagwon, and we have to have some special tutoring with honorable Americans, and things like that. We use lots and lots of money. But without love, probably this is something we should never do, right? Spending this much. Like in Korean terms, this is about 4억 won, 4억. That's a lot of money. But while we do that, we never think that, oh, I'm really backbreaking for my children. We just simply do that, Yeah. Mothers, they are symbols of irrationality, right? They do not calculate very much. I have one thing to tell you. This may sound very strange for American mindset because I think there's some cultural ethos there involved with mother's irrationality. I think this is what some mothers invented, but I think this story is really touching at least the Korean heart. Well, according to a very cruel and superstitious and some legendary kind of myth, there's a saying that, if you are inflicted with some incurable disease, kind of using human organ will cure that. Sometimes even these days in some part of Africa, some talismans and some bad human organ trafficking was occurring, which was reported in one of the newspapers. But probably we thought in the similar way, probably many places around the world. And there's a story that your wife got sick, and what she needs is someone's liver. Someone's liver will cure her. So what this man did is to open up his own mother's liver and then stole it and ran to get to his wife. How sad. And mother back there. But when he was running, mother was following. Son, son, son. She lost her liver. And he was afraid to look back because that's his own mother who was killed because of his own wife. He just ran. Slow down, son. Slow down. You may fall down. Well, many Koreans cried, Of course, opening up mother's belly to take out the liver, that's a ridiculous story, but that's just for the story. But something that really touches our heart is we know that mothers will do that. mothers will gladly do that. And after losing the liver, probably she would be worrying about son falling down by kicking the stump or kicking a protruding rock and get hurt. Right? Mothers, they are really irrational lovers. How about this kind of an episode, which was very common during the Japanese occupation in Korea? There were many Koreans who were freedom fighters. They leave home and they only come back only once or twice a year at night and have a very secret family reunion. And mothers, that's actually wives, what the wives did was they never locked the gate, because her husband may come home at any time, any unannounced time. I think this is mother's heart. They do not think about the possibility of robbers or thieves coming in and taking the stuff away. Their more serious concern was to see the loved one. When the loved one comes and tries to come in, if the door is locked, then what kind of a sad story would that be? We also remembered the story of the prodigal son. Right? And at the time, we remember that it is actually the story of prodigal father, not prodigal son. The prodigal father who was beyond the rationality. Right? Now, Mary's perfume, as this Bible verse declares, it was worth 300 denarii, which is about equivalent to a laborer's one annual wage. And in Korean buying power terms, that could have been 35,000 US dollars. And how much is that? It is about 3,500만 won in Korean terms. One jar of a perfume. That was a really expensive one, really, really precious one. Well, this is very expensive one. Then we should think, why waste? And many people around, they should think, oh, that is a very expensive one. Why waste? Why waste? Actually, whenever I was reading this episode in the Bible, I'm reminded of one man who was a Chinese, whose name is Watchman Nee, but his Chinese name is Li Tosheng. He lived between 1903 and 1972. This man converted at age 17, and he served the Lord for 50 years. After conversion, he was a very devoted Christian, trying to evangelize many people. But his last 20 years were spent in the prison, and he died in prison at the age of 69. And even before, he never married, and even before he was seen by his relatives, he was cremated. So what actually his family members saw was just ashes. What about this Watchman Nee? And he wrote so many books, and I read many books during my youth, and those books greatly influenced me. This man was a genius. He was always at the top in the class. And one day he was preaching the gospel at the street corner. And one of his professors was passing by, and he looked at him, and he was very surprised. And then he said he was studying some medicine, and he was, I think the professor was the law professor. And he looked at him and then, "Oh, Ni Tosheng, Is that you? And he said, yes. And then he shook his head. Oh, Nito Sheng, I cannot believe that you are like this. Such a promising young man. And he shook his head and went home. And Nito Sheng was deeply shaken. Yes, what he saw during my school days was a very bright young man who had a very promising future, who would be a great leader for China. And now, what is he doing? He's like a beggar on the street corner, very unkempt, and just preaching the gospel, which looked irrational to many of them. And then because of that thought, he felt miserable. Oh yes, what happened to my bright future? Now I am street preacher with no future in worldly sense. And then he cried so much. He cried so much, and he spent the whole night crying. Yes, Nito Sheng, that's me. And what kind of person was I? I was somebody who could become real somebody. But now I'm living poor like this, and my life every day is not meaningful to many of them out there. So he cried all night long. And in the morning, when he opened the Bible, he saw this episode about Mary's anointing. And he read the expression waste. And that touched his heart. Yes, my promising future was wasted for Jesus. Yes. And there are other characters, disciples, especially Judas Iscariot, and somebody who agreed with him. Right? What they did was they were indignant. They were angry, really angry. Why waste $35,000 US, one jar, breaking it, and then just like throwing it away? They were indignant. And they scolded, rebuked Mary. And I think one Bible says Judas Iscariot said that, but other descriptions say that Judas, some disciples in plural form. What does that mean? Probably Judas Iscariot was the one who instigated. Wow, yeah, look at what she's doing. What waste, probably that's what he did, and everybody agreed. Right. $35,000? We could help so many people out there. Why waste, right? And what did Jesus do to this incident? Jesus did that. The first thing that Jesus did was protecting her. Let her alone. And he also said, she has done a good deed to me, and some versions say a beautiful thing to me. Beautiful thing, not wasteful thing. And she has done what she could, which means with all her might, what she could, And what Jesus is seeing is not the hands or the action itself, but he's looking at the motive, the loving heart. And also, at one point I read a story in a book about one nunnery, like a female Roman Catholic nuns, like in a monastery. And of course, they have different ideas from us, because Roman Catholic Christians also worship Saint Mary. But that story really touched me, and I think that is relevant here. In the nunnery, there was one new nun who came in, and that nun was formerly a juggler, like a clown in a circus. And then whenever she went to the prayer room, she was there for a very long time. And whenever she came out, she didn't look somebody who was a regular nun. So one nun followed her, and when she went inside, through the open door, she looked what she was doing, and then she changed clothes, and what she did was she was juggling before the cross there and Saint Mary there. And seeing that, this nun became very angry. What is she doing? They are in the prayer room. So she was so angry that she was about to break in, and then what she saw